What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to La Vecchia Signora. It is the day after Igor Tudor's debut that saw Juventus defeat Genoa 1-0. Kenan Yildiz shines in that one, and we're going to take a look at that match. We've got some indications of maybe how things are going to go. The question remains, can Tudor get us to that top four? And just in perfect Juventus fashion, fans, mixed reviews over the game we saw yesterday, but we're going to have some fun and tackle it all together. I got Sev with me today. We were to have Omer under the weather, so hope he gets better real soon. And Sev, man, we were all scrambling this morning, but it's great to have you on here. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm finally doing a victory show. This is my first victory show. I'm so excited.
There we go.
I'm like a pig in shit here. Let's go.
Well, there you go. Well, listen, I've been here all damn season, every single show, and I haven't done enough victory shows. So, yeah, it's great to have one here that we can discuss. So, yeah, we talked about this yesterday, pregame show and everything, and it was like, man, we got to get the job done. They haven't defeated Juventus at home in Turin since 1991. And man, that chat, the AJC team chat, it really took off from there, because I don't think half of them were even a thought at that point in time. But some of us old boys, we were remembering 1991. That is the kit.
That is. That's the baby. That's my first year being a Juventus fan is 91.
There you go.
I was 10, which, by the way, that chat made me really, really depressed after.
a lot of young ones there. I was thinking back to 1991. Man, we were still not situated here in the west coast of Canada. We were still in Winnipeg in 1991. We moved here the following year in 92, and moving here is 92 going into 93. That's kind of where my earliest memories of Juve kind of begin. 93, 94 being the year it really took off. But 91, so there's the home kit, and then I've got the away back in 91. So this is what the away is. Just beautiful, right? Like, just stunning kits. Of course, there's only one number you could put on the back of that bad boy.
Oh, yeah.
Only one number. Well, back when they didn't have the names on there, hey?
I will argue there's only one other number I would have put on that kit besides Baggio's 10 would be Tudor'S 9.
Schilacci, eh? Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
and Toto.
He had that World Cup that year.
Toto's a bit before me, but I go back because Baggio 93, 94. That was it for me, man. But yeah, where was Skanga in 1991? Loitering like a tramp on the banks of Lake Como. Sorry, fire shot. The guy isn't even here, and Swarit's got guns.
He's coming
blazing.
out swinging this morning, Swarit.
Oh man, I love it. Okay, we are ready. We're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna take a look at this match and kind of dissect things. And of course, very quiet in the news in the aftermath. All we know that we are expecting to hear is how the tests come out on Gattone, as Gatti was unfortunately injured in this match in one of the sequences where he had to come in and help out Vega. So we'll talk about performances there and everything. But yeah, that's really it. And we're still waiting to hear what the scoop is going to be there, all right? Everybody in the chat, what's up? We're happy to have you in here. Dragons 8, Tuna Steaks, LJJ, Swarit, Forza Juve, Vincenzo G, all right? Matt, as always. Frankie the worst. One of these after a win is long overdue. Yes, we're ready to rock it. Matteo Camisa in here. AG Calcio. Let's go, everybody. All right. So we get our starting lineup going into this game. There was a change, okay? A change from what was projected. For the most part, it was spot on. But when you talk about the change, it was Lloyd Kelly being one of the three there. Vega and Gatti. No Kalulu. So that was your back three. Kalulu was pretty much in all the projections leading into this game. So we ended up with Di Gregorio, Gatti, Vega, Kelly, Nico Gonzalez as that outside mid on the right, Locatelli, Thuram, McKennie outside left, Cope Miners, and Yildiz just behind Dusan Vlahovic. So, Sev, what do you think of that lineup when we saw what he was actually going to roll with in this game?
Yeah, I was a little let down with it. You guys said it in the pre yesterday. I didn't want to see Kelly. I didn't want to see Nico, and I kind of didn't want to see Coop up there. Um, I liked everything else. Yeah, I kind of wanted. I During the week there was those rumors of a 3-4-1-2 and have Yildiz as like playing behind behind Dushan, but I was okay with it minus the Lloyd Kelly and the Nico
Yeah, Kolomouani and Vlahovic got a lot of rumors to be playing up top together with
up
Yildiz
top.
kind of being in behind, or even Kolomouani playing behind for that matter because he could play anywhere across the top, also act as a winger, etc. It's one of the things that came out of this game actually is Kolomouani, and the talk was about him despite the fact he didn't even play in it, and that's probably why. And we are going to get to that. I put out my lineup and it raises questions, this lineup, because you're starting to wonder, are they going to push for guys that are these long terms? Are they looking for answers moving into the summer? And they want to know exactly what the hell was going on. Was it Mota? Is it just these guys? Guys like Cope Miners, guys like Nico Gonzalez, etc. With Lloyd Kelly at the back there, gotta say, probably his best game in black and white yesterday, but we'll get to that. I still would have had Kalulu in there from the start with Gatti and Vega. Vega at the heart of the back line. A lot of feelings on that performance there yesterday, and we'll take a look at it all right now. We'll go through the highlights. Not a crazy amount in the highlights because it was a pretty tightly contested match, has to be said. There wasn't a lot of space either way. But 16th minute, we had a turnover out on the right flank, and Genoa pounced on it, and they got it to Friendrup at the top of the area, and thankfully he lets go a very weak shot that's easily handled by Di Gregorio. Again, tight for space, a little bit of a back and forth early on in this match. 25 minutes, however, Vlahovic, we got a quick throw from Cope Miners, so a heads-up play there. Maybe because Tudor was flipping out to just pick up the pace or whatever the hell it was. Nonetheless, he had the wherewithal to let go of a quick throw-in. Vlahovic pretty much wipes out Vasquez on this play. You see the ball just sit up there too. Yildiz, there you go. 1v1, get to work. He's running at Coney de Winter, and it works out for him. He's got a great run at him, great approach. He feints a shot. Coney de Winter bites. He does get a piece of the ball, but luckily still sits up for Yildiz. He goes the rest of the way, and man, he just buries this one far side, inside netting, up high, top bins. I think Leali, being right there, I was pretty surprised he was able to get that by him, but great finish, great goal, 1-0 up for Juventus. Key things out of this one for me was just Dusan was working hard. He was being physical early on in the game, which I like to see, and we were trying to at least move up the pitch quickly early on in this game. After the goal, it kind of settled again, and we'll get into that, but this was a great goal. Yildiz wherewithal on the move. Sev, what did you think about this one?
I said it while I was watching it. I said, if there's a stat for a coach getting the assist, did you see how quick Tudor got the ball up for the throw-in? Because it happened to be right where he was standing. And he was like, poop, poop, and he grabbed, he was part of that assist. He literally was part of the assist in his first game.
Hey, man. Coach's influence, Tudor, man. And there was times I love seeing, we'll talk about Tudor, but the guy was on the pitch sometimes, okay? Getting right into it. I loved seeing it. But yes, Tudor flipping it up to him quickly so that we can get it going. Tudor's the man. It's some things just look good. That's one of them. How it's going to work out, I have absolutely no idea, everybody, all right? But I will say, from just the aesthetics part of it, I love seeing Tudor on the bench. That's all I'm going to say, okay? But we carry on. It's 1-0 Juventus. And like I said, maybe some of the urgency, still trying some direct approach here and there, which I appreciated. Trying to get that ball long, trying to go direct and give Vlahovic a little bit of work against defenders where he can be running at the defense. We did try to stretch the field. Tried to maybe stay away from playing out of the back more often than not, which I think was a good call. And you saw Di Gregorio launching the ball a lot, trying to get us that field up advanced. But to be honest, outside of the 1-0, there's not a whole bunch in that first half outside of this. So you're 1-0, you're going into the second half. Really, you just needed to tidy things up. We still had a little bit too many turnovers, a little bit too much there. But other than that, we gave Genoa nothing. They had that opportunity there with Friendrup at the top. And then they had another one where Di Gregorio decided to punch across from Miretti. And it went to Friendrup, who just volleyed it right back on goal. Again, Italian keepers and punching the damn ball. Just catch the thing, okay?
Oh, I hate it. I
get flashbacks of Peruzzi in that fucking final, man. That it's mind blowing to me. But other than that, we gave them nothing, and I was happy with the first half. I was really happy with the first half. I said, you know what? Maybe a little bit better execution in the final third, but still, it just feels like the guys aren't. When you get that time to make that decision in the final third or whatever, it's too slow. It's still too slow. It's just got to be bang, bang, bang. What am I doing? Am I crossing it in? And when we cross it in, for the love of God, if you've got guys at the back post, send it to the back post. I don't want to see this low cross across the face of goal. Like, put it to the back post. Give your guys a shot. It feels indecisive still in the final third.
Yeah, I'm gonna pretty much 99% agree with you. The execution at the end, it's basically that's what our issue has been all year. Is even if we are a little bit creative in that final third, and we can do a little tiki-taka back and forth and and get some plays, I still feel like the final execution is still, like you said, loose. It's not tight. And it's like we don't know what we're gonna do in that last touch. That's what it always comes down to. It's like we could look so well on certain plays, and I have to tell you, even Duchan's hold-up play was actually pretty decent yesterday. And when we were getting to that final thing, just that little tiny final execution was the issue, just to close it out,
Pretty much. But I don't know why, and that's going to be something that's going to be continued to be highlighted as you've got a coaching change and everything in the offense. I'm telling you, he's not going to be getting this team ripping offensively. Like, that's just not Tudor's game. Like, it doesn't say that you still can't win games 2-0, 3-0, which I think we should have won this one by that scoreline based easily. On how the game went. But again, It's just these guys need that confidence. They need that boost. They need that spark in the final third. There's a little bit too much indecision there still. And then, of course, execution on what you're trying to do has to be better. But as the game went on and as the game finished, like I said, we could have basically had this 3-0, but could have also been equalized at one point as you kick off the second half. Not long into it, 9 minutes in, Pinamonti actually slashes at one and he just drags this thing wide. If that thing hits target in that corner there, I don't think Di Gregorio's getting to that one. All right, so that was a close call. And that came from a turnover, again, from us. So we do have to clean things up. A little bit sloppy at times here. There was a couple adjustments from Tudor coming out to the half. Dropping the guys back a little bit, not letting them take off too early in terms of Yildiz and Cope Miners to help out with some spacing there. Positionally, I still think across both halves, we were better than we've been positionally for a long time now. Months of guys being out of position. We looked a lot better structurally. So I'll give him credit there. After that chance, 57th minute, Yildiz takes his men on, dishes this one to Vlahovic at the top of the area, and he absolutely flubs it. I got to say this. I appreciate the work from Dusan Vlahovic. We'll talk more about player performances. I appreciate the hard work from him. But the second half, he started fading. He started fading in the second half. I think the battles with Coney de Winter, we all have our thoughts about the official. I thought he was getting away with quite a few liberties, a lot of grabbing, like over the top grabbing and clinching, but you got to deal with it. You got to work through it. As the game went on, there was key moments there where Vlahovic just, it was pretty rough in the key sequences with the ball at feet. This was one of them. Really, really poor. That thing needs to be struck and struck nicely on goal, forcing some type of a serious save. In the end, it's a flub, easily caught by Leali. 72nd minute, Kalulu, who had to come in early on for Gatti. Again, reminder everybody, we're on watch for Gatti's condition. Kalulu with a header off a corner that was sent in by Conceição, who entered the match. Easily stopped by Leali, parried away. 85th minute, we started to, as the game went on, like 70 minutes on, we started to actually work good opportunities. This was another one, 85th minute. We got Yildiz beating a man, Conceição picking up the ball, running it puts it across the 18. Locatelli absolutely smashes this thing, but right at Leali. No rebound, nothing. It's all taken care of. That's a good opportunity. 90th minute, a header from Vega. He wants that one back. Should have been put on target. Good chances there. 93rd minute. It doesn't even stop there. Kefren Turam says screw it. He knows he's going to be gassed. He's going to be dead. This is last play of the game. Takes it the distance from like the top of our area. Puts this one across goal. And Weah, who came in as a substitute, smashes this thing. But man, just doesn't squeak through Leali. Sits up for him after rubbing on the side there. It ends 1-0. Chances to kill this thing off. We don't. In the end, 1-0. Get the 3 points. Sev, what'd you think about the game as a whole? How do you feel about that first Tudor match?
I'm happy. I'm happy with the response that the team had to him. I agree with you on the Dusan stuff where he started to fade toward the end. I think De Winter did his work well yesterday. As far as I feel like they almost like said in their locker room, like, we got to get in this guy's head. And De Winter got away with a lot of shit yesterday on him. Like, he was grappling him all, and then I think that's why Tudor wound up getting the card. I think is that why he flipped out?
Yeah, he started to lose it more and more with each passing moment that he couldn't break free of De Winter, and there's just a lot of grabbing there. And there was one that was excessive. Vlahovic literally just spins. It looks like he's going to try to attempt to hold up the ball, and he spins off of him, gets around him, and the bounce goes his way. And he can't even move because of the grab. And I'm like, that one you just have to call. And that has to be a yellow.
Yeah.
Rapuanu
but I want to piggyback off of something. You said something that is really, really like dead on, is that you're Vlahovic, you gotta overcome that.
Yeah.
There's gonna be games where they're gonna do that. They're gonna do that to your striker, and you gotta be better and overcome it. Yeah. And take advantage of the shots that you do have. And he shit the bed again. You know, some of his touches were horrible, but then again, his overall play, you have to say, was good, because you could tell he grinded him out. He grinded out that game. Overall, I liked the way the team connected with him, with Tudor. I liked the grinta they did show. Like I said, besides the questionable, Lloyd Kelly and the Duchamp, the Coop Miners, I didn't have any issue. I didn't have any issue with overall. Oh, we do have to talk about Coop Miners, because Coop Miners.
We'll talk about player performances and everything. Yeah, in this game, I mean, again, mixed feelings, because I came out and just said, you know what? I actually expected it to be a lot clunkier. I expected more mistakes. There were mistakes, obviously, in possession, in turnovers. They were higher in the first half than they were the second half. There was adjustments. It did get cleaned up. Again, played from the back a lot less in the second half. That's probably a reason why. Get that ball down there, give your guys opportunity to regain space. But structurally, organizationally, like much, much better than the past few months where guys are constantly out of position and nobody's covering properly and we've got gaps and holes all over the pitch. Some fans come out feeling that a better team would have beaten us yesterday. I mean, you can only play who's in front of you. I think even a better team would have still struggled to find space because it's clear, like with Tudor, it's very clear, and it's clear after only 2 training sessions and 1 match. It's defense. It's defensive solidity. It's lockdown. It's not let the opposition breathe and go from there. In terms of where we need to ramp things up is that offense. These guys need to gain confidence, and I think he might have been, I don't know, you're kind of fighting it here because does Kolo Muani actually feel like he's done now at Juve, and you're going with Vlahovic, who also is pretty much done with Juve? It's like you're trying to get one of these guys going. Kolo Muani should have stepped into this game at some point, in my personal opinion. Shouldn't have gone with the full 90 with Vlahovic, especially the way things were going. And I also think that Kolo Muani, if you're going to play that quick transition game, if you're going to try to stretch the other team out and utilize more of a north-south direct approach, that's kind of the guy you want because he's better with the ball at feet. And it's something that I would have loved to see yesterday with that approach. Again, I would have no fear playing him in the next match, which is a big one against Roma. But we'll dissect that a little bit more as we go. We're going to quickly get into player ratings and man of the match, etc. Obviously, Kenan Yildiz won the official man of the match, but we'll talk about these as we go. Di Gregorio, 7.6. I mean, the guy didn't really have a lot of work, so 7.6 is pretty high, but okay. Gatti, 6.7. He was strong until he had to come in. Vega, I thought I'd probably have him a little bit higher. The sequence that Gatti got injured on, Vega got beat out on the sideline, where Pinamonti flipped it over, and some were saying, well, Vega got skinned or whatever. Well, I still want him doing that in that situation. Applying pressure to that guy, not making it easy. Pinamonti had to have a hell of a touch to get over and get around. But in the end, Vega putting that pressure there, forcing him to make that type of move, actually gave Gatti and Kelly enough time to go and recover. So I can't really fault him. I think Vega, for me, was in the mix for man of the match next to Yildiz, to be honest. I thought he was solid.
Agreed.
Yeah.
He had himself a shift yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he was solid. I really like what he brought. I would have had him closer to a 7.5 if I'm being honest. Di Gregorio, I'd probably bump down a bit to maybe, I guess, a 7, but even that seems high. But Vega should be at 7.5. Kelly, that's easily his best performance. He had some key interventions. He also had quite a few of those turnovers that we talked about. So, a 7's probably good. I don't think he should be higher than Vega. No chance.
Well, it's pretty like obvious now that Kelly is not a fullback. He's a center back. And when he was playing as the fullback under Motta, you could tell that he just doesn't connect with that position. He has to be a center back. With Vega, I agree. He should be at least at a 7.5. And I feel like he almost stepped it up after Gatti got hurt. Like, it's almost like he put that on his shoulders and said, okay, now it's just basically me. Like, Kalulu played well when he came in.
Kalulu played very well when Kalulu came in. Kalulu played good. Really good.
The only one that's a little bit low...
I still think all these guys fit. It's Vega, Gatti, and Kalulu need to be the back three, your go-to. Yeah. The only one that's a little bit low for me in this thing is I thought Luca was better than a 6'9". We're going to get to obviously everybody else here as we rock, because Nico Gonzalez playing the wingback role, I got to say, I would have never done it starting off this game going into it, but he played very well. He played very, very well. Yep. I think he started off better, and for whatever reason, it got it's a mixed bag, I think, yesterday for Nico. But positionally, it wasn't the position that was the problem. So he can do it. He works hard. He's got that grit. He can help out defensively. The problems are he had a great, fantastic run in the first, like early on, where he just took off. He looks more comfortable having that space ahead of him and moving forward and seeing the pitch. So that position opens that up to him. He still had a little bit too many errors for me in the critical decision moments of whatever sequence he's involved in when it comes time to make that decision, that final move, that final crucial moment seems to fall apart. There is the question. Alex Juve asks, should Nico be moved up to Cope Minor's spot? Not necessarily for Coop, obviously. We don't want to see Coop as outside mid, but should he be moved forward? I'm open to seeing this again because it's only one match.
Well, that's the question, right? Like we all went into the game saying he's going to play as a wing back. We didn't like that move, but he actually kind of surprised all of us yesterday, right? Like, because he does play well when he's got space in front of him. Is he going to have that much space if he's playing in Coop's spot? I mean, we have a lot of options there now because you could put Colo in that spot. You could put Conceição in that spot. You could do a lot of things there.
I'm telling you, Cope Miners, if he plays, needs to be in one of the pivots.
Agreed.
The way this set. The fact of how Nico Gonzalez played didn't make Cope Miners positionally like an issue, but I think there's other guys I'd probably try there. Kolo Muani being one, Nico Gonzalez being another, and it gives you Weah on that outside position, which I'd probably go with. It's interesting. It's worth seeing one more time though. Nico Gonzalez out on the flank there. 7.1 more than fair. I agree with you on Locatelli. You got a 6.9. I put him a little bit higher. Thuram 7.2. They should both be probably 7.1, 7.2s.
Yeah.
McKennie at a 6.9. You know what? Very, very quiet in this game. And that's one of the things. We weren't balanced from right side to left side. We definitely played through the right side predominantly. So it's not necessarily a detriment to McKennie. But yeah, I mean, I probably had him at like a 6.6, a 6.7 because the involvement wasn't as high as it should have been. Defensively, he did his job.
That's a great point that you just said, and I didn't even realize it, that you could see that the left side wasn't working yesterday. And if you notice, Yildiz' goal came up, he flanked to the right.
Yeah, he had full freedom and he was moving everywhere. But we weren't really balanced in that sense.
Yep.
And again, Kelly on the ball might have played a little bit of a part of that, but it just wasn't clicking as good. But Nico Gonzalez versus Weston McKennie, Nico was taking guys on and he was cutting in centrally and he was kind of opening up lanes and stuff. And McKennie wasn't so much. So something to look out for. Cope Miners at a 6.9. He didn't reach 6.9 for me, man. It's like a 6.3 maybe. My God, he sent another ball into orbit. It's one thing to miss the net, but to miss the stadium and put that thing out on the street is insane. I mean, come on. That's a good spot to have a fair shot. Like, it's crazy, man. And he's in his head immediately. When you take your first shot attempt of the game and you miss it or something like that, and you have to be consoled immediately by like Locatelli who comes up to you, dude, sort it out.
You know, at the very least, if Coop was at least drawing defenders to open up some lanes for Yildiz and Dusan, at least Nico did that, right? Like, so Nico behind him was at least drawing a couple of defenders over to him to open up some lanes for everybody else. Coop doesn't even do that.
Man, he had space too. Cope Miners could have taken another touch, carried it forward a little bit closer. He had runners. Like options. It's just, it's crazy that a great opportunity there absolutely falls apart at a guy that's supposed to be doing way more. That one was infuriating.
Yep.
Kenan Yildiz, an 8. The goal scorer, the game winner. I thought he had a solid showing, solid performance. He was my man of the match, edging out Vega. Has to be Yildiz, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Yildiz. I mean, even besides the goal, obviously, but he seemed like he was our only threat.
Yeah.
You know, like even like just off the ball, he was just phenomenal. He just has such a known of where to go, what to do in the moment. You know, he's the only one who's really like a threat right now for us. And you would think with Dusan on the pitch and with Koop Miners on the pitch, we would have some, multiple different types of threats. But lately it's just been, I mean, the fact that this guy sat as many games as he did under Motta, like, still boggles my mind. It's still...
Well, that's the thing, right?
Player.
That's the thing that gets me is, if you... We went into those games, you got Yildiz sitting on the bench, you're down 3-0, and it's just like, do you care? When you start questioning a coach, if he even cares, like, if he's battling personal vendettas, like, it's just garbage. Yildiz was fantastic in this one, and we need him to be. We need him to do what he did yesterday, create, get things moving, beat his man. He's good. When you can get him running at defenders, that's when he's at his best. We did so wonderfully yesterday, and he looked good. Vlahovic is the last one, 6.9 rating. I don't think he's that high for me. We talk about work rate, and he worked hard, but that's like a bare minimum. I've always, that's a bare minimum. I give him credit there. I think his first half was better than the second half. The frustration took over, and the key sequences in the second half that kind of fell apart there take him to like maybe a 6.4, 6.5 for me. And I think we should have seen Kolo Muani come into this game.
But you just took the words out of my mouth. I think that was one of Tudor's only mistakes, is that I think either play both of them together, or at some point you got to see that Dusan was fading in like that 60 to 70th minute and he was over it, and either swap them out or add Kolo and take Nico out, which I thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to take Nico out in that 65th, 70th minute, put Kolo in, and let them play together and put Yildiz behind both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and Vincenzo's, Matt saying, I think Tudor really wanted Dusan to score, probably. And I mean, this is one of the questions coming out of this thing, because for me, I would have liked to see Kolo in there, and especially with the approach that we were playing with, because you've got a big game next, and it might have been a missed opportunity for Igor Tudor, because Roma's in tremendous form. We'll talk about that in a bit. When it comes to this one and not taking that chance, I mean, it's tough. It's tough because I get trying to get one guy going, but is he pushing for something that maybe he shouldn't be? Like, who's got the better shot of staying? Kolo Muani, everybody's putting on Motta and that, he moved here because of Thiago Motta, whatnot. I don't necessarily know that, would he still not want to stay here? Are they worried about the performances he's going to put forward? I'm concerned about Vlahovic as well. The dude's got every reason on the planet to check out. You can only go based on what you see there. Kolo Muani is still going to be playing for a future, because apparently it isn't going to be at PSG. So it's kind of this battle that Tudor's got to deal with. But the big question mark is, are we going to see him fully lock in and commit to Vlahovic and maybe overcommit? Do you have that fear, Sev? Are you nervous about that?
I don't know. You know what's funny about the whole Kolo and Dusan, or Kolo versus Dusan thing, or what they're both playing for? I think the issue, and Motta did this, and you could see that Tudor did it yesterday, is I think they're afraid to play both of them together because they have that bullet in their gun if they want to rotate the players. When you play them both, you don't have that. You basically you're going full guns blazing, and you're gonna do this. The issue that you bring up that's really, really like interesting is they're both they're not in their walk years, but they are in the sense of they both don't have a future team. They're not here next year. If Colo goes back to PSG, he's not starting. But then again, he's not starting here. So he's kind of like between a rock and a hard place. And Dušan's contract is a mess. So that's where the writing's on the wall that he's gone. So it's a very, very interesting conversation to have because they both should be playing way above their heads right now because they have to go somewhere. They have to have a destination, and they don't right now. They don't have a destination.
But, and this is the thing, like, I don't understand, like, Tudor, you could date back to a few years back, the way he talks about Vlahovic, best striker in Serie A at the time, etc. All this comes in immediately. Vlahovic is put at the forefront. I mean, I got to be honest. I'm concerned if he's going to be force feeding something that we've seen already for a long time. And I think we kind of know where we're at with the guy. And you've got a guy that's new here that hit the ground running, and then Thiago Motta took over. Okay? Thiago Motta took over, and that faded and fizzled fast. I mean, I think it comes down to what's better for the group, and this is a key to cling on to because of Tudor saying it himself. Formation, all this, he says, I do what's best for the group. I'm going to continue to have eyes on how he deals with this striker situation and what we do up front because I will argue that Kolo Muani is probably better for the group and overall based on technical ability and what he can do on the ball versus Dušan Vlahovic. One of the things I liked out of yesterday, I talked about earlier, was the direct approach in certain sequences, getting that ball direct, moving forward, and bombing it up. Vlahovic had a few instances that he hasn't had in a long time where he's running at the defenders in and around the area. I definitely would rather have Kolo Muani in those instances over Vlahovic. Vlahovic, to me, is a guy that needs the service, needs to be hit in the area, and Kolo Muani is a guy that could do more damage in that type of game where he's running at defenses. I still think the two of them up top with Yildiz behind, I'm open to seeing.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree with you in the sense of if you noticed yesterday, Dušan was coming up the right side too a lot and trying to feed the balls because like that's where we give him the half and half type rating, right? Because we can't just judge it on his missed shots. Like we have to judge it on the overall play, but he did do something that you don't see much from a guy like Dušan is he was coming up that right flank and trying to create some plays too. But you're right, if we're going to do that and have our striker come up the wings, you'd rather it be Kolo. Yeah. Kolo's got more speed, he's technically better, he's going to come back on the ball better. The only difference is he doesn't have that hold up big power striker type of mentality.
And I think that's probably what gave him the edge. I was literally just going to say it. You just took the words out of my mouth. I feel like Tudor wanted the better, like, physical style hold up, almost a target, because that's where Kolo loses it a little bit. And you have a couple things at play here too. Again, if you're talking about starting to get the ball launched, not trying to play out of the back as much like we did in the second half, then your target guy becomes huge. Because if Kolo's going to be a target guy, the ball has to be on the carpet, on the pitch. He's not going to be as good as the target guy with anything aerially. Vlahovic is more physical in that aspect. That may be where the edge is coming. If I'm going to talk about things I want to see improve, he needs to find a way that when that top man moves out, the guys that are playing, like this is a problem I have with this setup. I had it with Motta before, but the 4-2-3-1 doesn't play to it as much as this. If you're playing a 3-4-2-1, you can't think of it as one striker. And I feel like yesterday the players thought of it like that, even Yildiz and Cope Miners.
Yep.
You have to think that when that guy moves out or whatnot, like you then become the striker. And we saw none of that. Like Yildiz needs to, he can't always be the face and ahead of it. Sometimes he's got to be the one attacking that space. Cope Miners, same thing. Like it has to all interchange. And I think that's where Kolo Muani will tap into and be able to realize that if you do play Yildiz, Kolo Muani with Vlahovic up top or Kolo and Vlahovic up top, then you'll have that rotation. It's like one piece of the puzzle that still those guys didn't put together yesterday. That when Vlahovic moves down, when he shows for, when he comes in traps, who's attacking the space? Because if Vlahovic finds either the wing back or a midfielder, they need that quick outlet. And we need to give ourselves opportunities to play it beyond the defense and send guys attacking.
Well, that's a really good point in the sense of also Dusan is supposed to draw defenders. And when he's drawing those defenders, it's supposed to open up the lanes around him for a Coop or Yildiz to do it. But yesterday, Yildiz took advantage of that. Coop didn't whenever Dusan was doing that. And at a point I wanted to say earlier with Kolo, if you watched during the break, the international break, France actually played Kolo with Mbappe and who's the other one for PSG? I can't remember him now.
Dembele.
Yeah, he played all three of them for France, and it was actually like I was like, wow, okay, why can't we do this? You know, like and maybe in the sense of, like you said, Kolo is gonna be a little bit more technical doing that stuff, but Dusan is the more power striker guy who's gonna draw the guys. That's why I want to see a few games in a row of both of them playing, and then we could really assess it. But you make a really good point with Tudor keeping him in, because maybe for mental psyche reasons, he wanted Dusan to score, get his mentality going again. Like, you know, it could be that. That's a good point.
Yeah. Now, in terms of Tudor, and we've got a lot coming out of this game. You heard some good words from Thuram, Yildiz, all around Tudor and whatnot, bringing new energy and whatnot. The biggest thing for me I'm going to take out of this game, because we all have to, you know, I'm going one game at a time, as I have even with Malta before. This thing is one game at a time for me, okay? Yep. But, my God, this was like the first match with Tudor, 2 training sessions. That was a full 90-minute performance. They were locked in for 90 minutes, and I'll give them credit there, and I appreciate that after what I've seen for the majority of this season, which is Jekyll and Hyde. So I appreciate that big time. Okay. So the positives for me, again, anytime they had the ball out on the flanks in their own final third, the press was engaged. Boom. And it was a good team press. It was a solid team press. Again, we need to learn how to make the most out of the turnovers we gain there. One step at a time, but that was good. The aggression, even defensively, positionally, so much better. These are all positives, and in 90 minutes. I'm going to take those positives. We're going to move on. But still, again, like I said, mixed feelings, and some were saying this was an ugly performance and that we would have got smashed by a better team, etc. People making comparisons. This was Motta's first match versus Tudor's first match, and, you know, it's obviously it's in Italian and whatnot, but you know what everything is. Possesso palla, possession 63% for Motta in his first game, 49% in Tudor's. Touches 743, Motta 632, Tudor. Passes 596, 417. Pass percentage 89%, 80%. You know, like, here's the thing. Who gives a shit?
You took the words out of my mouth.
Who gives a shit? I see the comments all coming back. Oh my God, our possession was low. We only passed the ball 417 times. We won 1-0, and it should have been 3-0. His first match ended 3-0. We should have been 3-0. Who cares about these stats? Who gives a shit?
Well, I'm going to say this, Berto. You said this a million times under Motta. Cool, we have 70%. What the fuck did we do with it? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. We could have 90% possession. We still didn't do anything with it. So I'd rather, you said it perfectly. The intensity was so much better, and it was for the whole fucking game. For once, we actually played a full game. And that's what we have to take away from it.
Here's a stat that I liked, okay? Big chances created, Juve 4, Genoa 0.
Yep.
That is the biggest stat that I care about, okay? I've said it all along. Possession doesn't mean shit if you can't do anything with it. It doesn't matter. That high passing percentage, all those passes, how many of it was at the back under Motta? Defender to defender to defender to defender to defender to Di Gregorio to defender to defender. Who gives a shit?
Yep.
Play the game. Have an approach. Have aggression. Now, I will say this. I've always believed the strongest teams can go through the motions. I'm not going to say that Tudor can't, but one of the things that has been hit at for Tudor is him being limited. Him being limited. So we are going to find out. We're going to find out if he can kind of evolve, if he can kind of make some corrections to the Tudor of old that was very limited, but he's got some good wins, solid wins under his belt, especially with the time at Marseille and everything. So again, I don't care about statistics. I care about, did the team look good? They looked more organized than they have in a long time. They had good aggression. We had a good team press. And I don't know if anybody else noticed, but our center backs, the outsides, Lloyd Kelly, Gatti, Kalulu, they bombed forward fearlessly at times to help out the attack. And at some times, we had our defensive line so high up, like we were trying to just swarm and keep Genoa down there. I appreciate that. And that's the kind of shit that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. But I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, we knew going into Motta, he's a high possession, because we saw he did it with Bologna too. And his biggest argument for that is, well, if we possess the ball, that's less time the opposition team has to score, right? So that's our best defense is possession. But you did nothing with it. Zero. You did it. You just said it. They passed back. They did this. They went back to Di Gregorio. They would do this, and nothing came out of it. I'd rather a full game like we had yesterday, full intensity game from beginning to end, and I'd rather what you said, like that back line kept pushing up and up, where if you noticed at times how many times Luca had to go behind Gatti and Kalulu and our back line because they were up so high that Luca had to be the one to sit back. And the same way you said earlier with Dusan and the midfielder swapping out, we did that with our back line too, where Luca was going behind or Thuram was going behind our back line because they were pushing up. Yeah. And it was just a complete performance, like as far as the way they rotated inside the pitch.
I've got this comment highlighted from Del Juve Piero. Then we're going to get to Storm the Barn because there's a lot coming up. We've got a big game coming up against Roma, etc. Unpopular opinion. Having ball possession is better than not having it. Okay, so the reason I highlighted this is because that isn't true. And we saw games where having the ball under Motta actually was a detriment to us. It was actually a detriment to us because we were playing in to the other team's game plan. Because when a team plans to clamp you down and you have no ideas to break it, remember, from the early days, Motta's Juve could not break down a low block. Couldn't do it to save their life. Could not do it to save their life. So having the ball meant no ideas, no creativity, no chances, and opening yourself up to them countering us and in turn hurting us. There's games where it's actually not to your advantage to do that. Now, you can argue against Genoa would not be that game. However, again, we walk away with 4 big chances to 0 from theirs. Like, the execution there for me was brutal. We were in a position to kill this game. That's as simple as I could put it. I look for a coach to put you in a match where you're in the situation to win the game and you're in the best situation possible. I still think yesterday we could have done far more with the guys available in the final third. Chico Conceição, do we start him against Roma? Do you start Chico Conceição against Roma? Do you back out of this Cope Miners thing to start against Roma? Because we got to look at this. Roma, I mean, we got to be serious here. They're in incredible form for 2025, okay? I pulled up the numbers. I was looking at it, and I think they're at 7 clean sheets, 0 losses, 21 goals scored, 6 goals conceded. That's crazy form for 2025, considering where they're coming from. And the coaching changes and everything, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're a juggernaut right now to deal with, and they're still kind of doing it without Dybala, right? So
yeah, so he's gone down for a long stand. When they got pretty fortunate yesterday, but still 1-0 against Lecce, getting the 3 points.
But it's their mindset now, right? So like they know. Are we away or are we? Where is the game next week?
Next week I think we're away to Roma.
Oh yeah, that's a definite challenge for us right now because they're coming in hot, you know, and I'm that's why this win yesterday was so good, is that we're kind of coming in a little hot too. So I think it's more of a mindset at this point. It's more of a mindset of, do we go with what worked yesterday? You bringing up Conceição, like, do we go with Yildiz? And I would take Coop out. I think Coop needs to sit. I think he needs to go a whole game without playing, and just see, like, maybe that'll knock some sense into him a little bit. You know, like, I would go with that. I would go with the 2 up front, put Yildiz behind them. That game scares me next week, man.
I wouldn't say I'm scared. I'm intrigued. I'm actually excited about it because I'm curious. I'm curious what Tudor's gonna decide on. Does he want the midfield to be that robust? I don't know how willing is he going to be to really push for a more offensive lineup. Roma's been rocking like a similar 3-4-2-1 setup with Ranieri.
I was just going to say,
so they're going to kind of mirror each other.
Which, if you remember under Allegri, when we played the 3-5-2 all the time, whenever we played a team that played 3-5-2, it exposed so much shit and how bad we were. So yeah. I don't know if that's going to happen again now that we're playing a 3-man again.
So the big one is going to be Gatti's fitness, okay? And I see one of... I think one of the Storm the Barns was, when is Cambiasso returning? It is expected to be Roma for the Roma match. If he's in, I immediately play that guy. I would actually 100%. Put him in. Outside left, or do you put him outside right? And do you get McKennie to keep doing what he's doing outside left? And then that opens Nico Gonzalez for one of those attacking plays with a guy that gives you still that grit. That's something I'd probably think about. So it's very hard to decide right now, but for me, I am looking away from Cope Miners in that role. For sure. If he plays, it's in one of the pivots. And right now, you don't break up Locatelli and Thuram, and that's just from form all year long. You don't break those guys up. Yeah. So for me, that's what I would be looking at depending on the fitness. And I know it's kind of risky too, depending when Cambiasso comes back, immediately putting him in this game. But hey, fortune favors the brave, everybody. Grip it and rip it. Let's fucking go. That's what I would do. You know,
I'm 100%. Don't touch Thuram and Luca. It's like the one constant we've had all year that's been good, that's been working. They pivot perfectly. They know when to go. You're going to go up. I'm going to go back. I wouldn't touch that with anything, even if it means not playing McKennie, who's been really good all year. But I got to tell you, McKennie, we've said it like a couple of times now, the last few games, he looks tired. He's playing tired. Even in the USA games.
He looked pretty tired yesterday. The shitty thing is you got, and this is what I've always said with Malta, is like, you've got to sort that out in your training regimen between games. Like, you got to find a way that, you know, the guys that you've been banking on that you need don't show up and are gassed or exhausted. He did look pretty tired too. Alex Juve says McKennie has no room in the scheme. Well, and this is the thing is, I think it's going to depend on opponents. He could do a job as an outside. Even under Max Allegri, his best was at the outside right. So let's see. That Roma one's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm intrigued to see what can happen. Tudor, the big question there. Can he get us that top 4? It's been one game, a couple training sessions. But all I'm going to say is this. Bring me that attitude, bring me that approach, bring me that organization and structure consistently, and I think we'll be okay. And I think we will be okay. All right? Now, let's get to some Storm the Barns. There's some tallying up in here. Let's fire away. One is asking about a collab. All collabs should be sent through email, please. Come on. What are we doing here? Storm the Barn. No, I'm kidding. AG Calcio asking about getting Juve Cornercast on for a new collab. Would love to see that. Oh yeah, we'll make something work. I'm sure. We will make something work. Alex Juve, once Cambiasso comes back, where do you play McKennie? Well, perfect segue as we were just talking about McKennie. Mid 3 with Thuram and Luca, or maybe Tudor plays Thuram, McKennie low mid, and put Locatelli more up top to join Yildiz. Colt Minor spot. No. I don't want to see Locatelli moved forward. He's definitely got to be one of those pivots there. McKennie as a third mid and play a legit 3-5-2 with 2 forwards there. That could be an option.
Didn't we do that last year, 2 years ago with Allegri? Is that where he was, McKennie?
Yeah, he was playing as one of the mids in a flat 3.
One of the mids,
played
right?
Legit 3-5-2, but he actually got moved to the outside right and played his best. I am open to him playing as an outside right in this scheme. He can also stay as outside left, but when Cambiasso returns, Cambiasso has to be out there on one of those flanks, 100%.
And I like him on the left. I like Cambiasso on that left wing back. I really do, and he's got to play. He's a great player, and we.
Yeah, see, I actually see him better on the right. I actually see Cambiasso better on the right, and I think it's a problem because all these guys are better on the right. McKennie's better on the right, Weah's better on the right, and it's like an issue. You need that out-and-out left guy.
Does it matter who's playing in front of him?
No, I think, honestly, it sucks because all these guys are better on the right, but Cambiasso is the best of the bunch on the left, and I think that's why he's got to be. Yeah. So I'd probably go that route. But McKennie, yeah, flat 3 mid is an option with 2 guys up top, but you got to have the versatility out of that one guy. McKennie, and if you do that, it actually could bode better because Thuram needs to push up and get a little bit more forward too. That was one thing out of yesterday's game he got taken away from, right? Because you have Colt Miners and you have Yildiz up there.
Except
but
for that
if you
last
ran
play
a
of the
flat 3 midfield and had 2 of them operating as box to box, that's how a lot of teams play their 3-5-2.
Well, yeah.
And then you have Yildiz being that free roam true 10, and then you have a striker, right? It's something that I'm sure we'll see at some point with Tudor. Is he going to go to it immediately against Roma? I don't think so. I think it'll be 3-4-2-1 again.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I will say, though, about Thuram, that last play of the game when you were going through, he just looks like a tank running up. Like, it's insane.
He looks like Predator.
Insane.
He looks like Predator. It's just like freaking go, even with the hair going and whatnot. It was just, it was like, awesome to see, man. Really I love Kefren Thuram.
Yeah,
I love the guy.
I love his touches. I love he's got the tech. He takes his guys on.
Yeah.
Man on 1v1, like I love it. I love watching that guy on the ball. It's so
And
much fun.
Lillian Thuram looking like a pimp in the stands there with how he
Yeah.
dresses and everything. He was there. Montero was there. It's great to see everybody showing the love and backing for Igor Tudor. But Lillian Thuram with the pimp style, looking like Godfather from WWE there. It's great stuff. Great stuff. Now,
He's like
will
Flash.
Cambiaso be back against Roma? Supposed to be. Supposed to be. Interesting little stat here that came out of yesterday in regards to Kenan Yildiz. Oh yeah, and of course now I don't know if my phone actually died. No, okay, we're good. His goal equalized the best goal scorer amongst players under 20 during Serie A in Juve's history with 7. He tied Moise Kean's record. All right, so there you go for Kenan Yildiz. Now, get to the next store in the barn. We've answered this a lot. This came up a lot already yesterday. It's so early on with Tudor, but it's like, if we keep Tudor, if we get top 4, do you keep him, Sev? If we get top 4.
I think we keep Tudor if we make top 4, but I think it's going to matter a little bit in the Club World Cup too. See how the team. I mean, it's so early to tell. Like I was watching the pre yesterday with you guys. It's such a hard question to answer because we have to see. You can't just judge it now. You can't judge it. Even if we make top 4, cool. Does the team respond to him? Do they connect with him? How is he in the locker room? I think that all matters. But if we make top 4 and the team is kind of responding well, and a huge thing is we all want Conte, right? What if Conte's not available?
Well, that's the thing. For me, it's the same. It's best coach available. I want a guy with a serious CV taking over right now at this time. However, some say that Gasperini's CV is serious. I don't think it is. So it's like, I said it yesterday and I stand firm. Best coach available. My preference is one of the guys that is considered elite. If that is not available to you, then there is a place where Tudor could potentially be the best coaching option out of the bunch. But it's not set in stone. So for me, it's not just top 4. It's a yes. No. For me, it's not. It's much more complicated. It depends on the scenarios and the options. Devil's always in the details, everybody. Coaching is no different. So pump the brakes. We'll see. Swarit says, to be honest, nothing yesterday gave me the confidence that we can go to Rome and beat Roma next Sunday. Maybe an unpopular opinion. Wow. So let's talk about the confidence level going out into this game. Sev, how confident are you?
Look, we've said it already. The biggest thing I'm taking away from yesterday's game, and is what giving me my confidence for Roma, is that we played the whole game. There wasn't like dips. There wasn't. I mean, aside from maybe we said, Dusan kind of fizzled out at the end, but we played a full game, and we haven't seen that this year. So that's the one thing I'm taking away from yesterday. And if they could do that against anybody, against any team, we're gonna have a shot. We're gonna have a shot.
Yeah, if we take away the space as well as we did there, Dybala not available to them, I feel pretty good. I think if we can keep them to the perimeter like we did against Genoa and for them, clean up the turnovers with some more training, as in Tudor's words, the real work begins now. So he said that in his presser. He said, hey, it's only been a couple sessions. We got the job done, but now the serious work starts now. If we can keep things tight and not give any space or whatnot, I like our chances. I think we'll be fine against Roma. I think it's going to be a tight game. I wouldn't be surprised early call to see a 1-1 draw like Tuna put earlier. Like this game's got 1-1 draw written all over. Yeah, it might. But Tudor, we'll see. Because the energy the shit, like, I didn't feel that as much, in terms of the hype, the energy, or whatever, the get after it yesterday. But I like that. Because it wasn't like we were running around with chickens with their heads cut off. It's like, it was controlled aggression. It was like, hey, the ball's here now out to the outside. Okay, team press. And it was like, I was like, it was very controlled aggression, and I like that. Against Roma, you're going in there as Juve, away from home. If anybody could send the message about what people are expecting to happen, it's Tudor to that team, to get them ready, to get them motivated, get them prepared. But if I'm going to say where my confidence falls short, it's in the execution. I'm getting concerned about the execution. These guys needed a couple goals, I think, this game yesterday to really ramp things up. Vlahovic isn't going to take any confidence boost out of yesterday. He's not going to take anything out of that game. That's going to be like, okay, yeah, big confidence. No. Yildiz will, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Locatelli and Thuram can. Vega, first full 90 back, he will. Kalulu, I think, could be happy with his performance. Kelly could get a confidence boost from a showing there yesterday like that. Nico Gonzalez should take some confidence out of that, playing that role. So there's some positives there, but it's going to come down to the execution. So,
agreed.
Tight game, man. Going to be tight. Let's see. If you take away Lippi, who's your favorite Juventus coach? Well,
Sarri. No, I'm just kidding. Oof, that's a tricky one.
I mean, I could see Sarri. You guys both smoke. You both like tracksuits. I mean, I could see it.
Man.
I gotta say it's Allegri 1.0 and Conte are very, very close for me. Very, very, very close for me. Trapp is before me, is like a very, very early days. So like I can't even really say Trapattoni. Like accomplishment wise, it would definitely be Trapp, right? But Allegri and Conte are very close for me. Allegri 1.0 and Conte. I give the edge just personally because of the attitude and everything, like Conte. But results-wise and everything, like Allegri 1.0, fuck, that is tight. That is tight, man.
Yeah, the Conte thing, it was just a little bit too much of the bullshit around it with Agnelli and all the... Like, there was too much stuff going on. Like
Allegri 1.0 had me believing we could do a treble, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and we almost did. Like, I got to go Max 1.0, man.
I'm gonna probably go with Max.
I'm going to go Max 1.0. But Conte, I'll always have a soft spot Conte, and he's right there with me because, like, man, the takeover was incredible. But, yeah, Max had us believing, and we almost did it. What's your opinion on Motta to Atalanta? Oh, my God, I hope so, and I hope it crumbles. Screw Atalanta. You know what? He's going to get a gig. He's got to learn from this one because it was a horror show. And I don't think he can point any fingers. I don't think he can blame anybody. If anybody, I think the team gave him way too much leash. So if he goes to Atalanta, hey, you know where I stand.
He's gonna do well at some point. I just don't. He's got to find the right scenario because he requires a lot.
Man,
and some places might not give him the flexibility we did.
I'm surprised we just followed like hook, line, and sinker. It was like, okay, yeah, these guys got to go. It's like, what? You got no depth, man. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. If he goes to Atalanta, oh, my God, please let them crumble.
And the stubbornness and...
Oh, my God. Crazy. Are we still going to see Mbangula? We should. We should. Even in this setup, we definitely should. Why could he not play one of those roles as an attacker? Everybody said, are we going to see Chico now playing this? Of course we will. And we should see Mbangula as well. Obviously, one of the two that said goodbye, like a proper post to Malta when he left. But Mbangula should not be bailed on. That would be awful, in my opinion, if we bail on this kid.
Well, I think for two reasons. Number one, because he's good and we could use a forward, attacking forward like that. And number two, even if we did, for money reasons, want to sell this guy, you got to play him to get the value up.
Yeah.
You know, if he sits on the bench, you're not going to get much for him. I mean, I don't want to sell him, I'm saying, but
for
the right money, I would.
I don't want. It always depends on that. I mean, devil's always in the details. Who do you expect to shine under Tudor? I think your guys that are going to keep it going this year, like Thuram and Luca, will do their thing. They'll continue doing their thing.
Yep. I
actually think in this setup, Yildiz will shine.
Well, yeah, you guys said it yesterday in the pre, right? Like, I think this question came up, and Trim said that he thinks Yildiz will shine, but I think Yildiz is going to shine under anybody who plays him. You know,
I've said it all year. Left wing, right wing, 10, whatever. I go, just put the fucking kid out there. He just has to be on the pitch. But this role, with the freedom that he had yesterday, this should open things up for him. Yep. Like, this should help him really, really start to enhance the influence he has on matches. That's what needs to really ramp up. So let's see. But I would probably say that's a safe bet. Do you expect Tudor to start Dusan and Cope Miners again? Have a feeling management will push him to drive up their values before summer. See, it's this big juggling act, and how much is going to be, with this summer mercado and everything going, that are we going to actively be pushing some of these guys to play just to make, these moves better, bring up value? I think if I was a betting man, I would bet that Dusan and Cope Miners both start again against Roma. Do we make a friendly wager today? I think if I was a betting man, and everybody knows I like a good bet, should we have a bet, Army? Should we have a bet today? If I was a betting man, I'd say both start against Roma. Yeah.
Dusan definitely. Coop is the tricky one because I don't want him to start, but are we gonna see this from Tudor? That's another interesting thing. Like, Motta had his favorites. It's like the Rabiot thing with Allegri. Is he gonna, maybe make a statement here and say, hey, you got to play better or you're not gonna play?
Yeah.
I don't know if Tudor wants to make that kind of a statement this
early. Juve bets. All Juve bets. Hey, if you're going to bet, do so responsibly, all right? Maybe one change. But I don't think it's going to... If he makes a change, it's probably going to be Cope Miners. Miners.
I think Nico's going to start again.
Probably. I don't have an issue with that. So it's like, who does he change to put in that spot? That's why I'm leaning towards, my bet would be he starts both of them, because I don't think he's going to go out there with Kolomuani, Yildiz, and Vlahovic. I just don't see him doing it. I think it's like another thing of getting that extra midfielder out there.
Yeah.
As some type of defensive buffer. And Tudor, for the most part, is defense first. All these guys are defense first, just like Malta was. So it's that safety net of that extra midfielder type, right? But the big kicker is Cambiaso, because if Cambiaso plays on the outside left and you have Nico on the outside right, McKennie becomes an option to play there instead of Cope Miners.
Yeah.
And McKennie in a more aggressive, direct approach, high press. he could do the job there too. So, and you still get your safety net of a third midfielder in there. So I'm just throwing it out there. There's going to be options available to him. Let's see.
He definitely has options, man. He's going to have a lot of options. And Cambiaso coming back, if he's going to come back, that just opens a whole world of, like you just nailed. It opens a ton of things he could do.
Yeah. Chris, am I the only one that wishes Tudor will do well and will remain our coach next season? We missed a guy who knows what Juve means for way too long. I mean, I'm not like rooting against him. Okay. I'm more just at the point where emotions are not going to change my wavelength right now, which is Juve needs to get back to serious business. If you have the opportunity for an elite level manager, you have to do that, in my opinion, right now with the struggles we've seen for years. Like, and I'll say it. If Conte becomes available, if he's really willing to break free of the Napoli contract, I hands down go after him. And 9 games doesn't change my mind on that.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate, Al. Let's say we win all 9 of these games. Finish, let's say, 3rd. Get to the Club World Cup and get to like the quarterfinals or semifinals. You still want Conte if he's available?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know. I think I have to. My final call will be on how the team is, even if whatever they win or lose, the way they play. I got to see the way they play and the way they connect with the coach.
Here's the thing. My biggest question mark on Igor Tudor is that I'd be fighting this mental battle. If your situation, if your hypothetical came to fruition and that legit happened, I'm still looking at a guy that has a history of fizzling out very quickly in Igor Tudor. And then I have a guy who is guaranteed to establish a winning mentality and an instant stimulus that could be 2 years, which is exactly like perfectly fine with us, because then you could bring in that guy to take it next level that doesn't have to be necessarily the elite guy or whatnot, but like it's this battle of, is it going to go right for Tudor? Can he keep it rolling longer than he has at these clubs previously against a guy that is pretty much as close to a guarantee that you can get?
Well, yeah. Well, he just had those 2 decent. How was he with Tottenham those few years? You guys know better than me.
Well, he brought him up to Champions League, and then they just he didn't get any commitment. The story is the same with Conte. The second he doesn't feel support in mercados, etc., he feels like that's it. These guys aren't serious.
Yep.
And he's going to run into the same thing with Napoli. I know that he's contracted to 2027. They have the potential to come away with 200 million to spend. Well, not to spend, but 200 million available to them. De Laurentiis is not going to spend all of the money. We know that. Time will stand true to this. How much are they willing to put down, and is it enough to convince him to stay? That's what the big question is. It's beyond a contract to 2027, which Conte would walk away, take another job, and Napoli wouldn't have to pay him anyways. And they'd all be fine with that. It's, are they going to commit to him? And I'm going to go up with this one again with Skippy here. You have to get the job done domestically before you look to multiple comps. I don't care. It's like this year, Malta coming in and everybody dreaming about Champions League and winning chance. Like, take care of business at home. Take care of business at home first, and then you look to evolve. It's as simple as that. We're like, even this balancing act of trying to do all this, trying to go as far as you can, all this. It's like you spread yourself thin with a team that had no depth this year. Like we thought we had depth, and it turns out our coach counteracted that with his own stubbornness and sending guys out and shooting himself in the foot, shooting us in the foot. Take care of business domestically, period. First and foremost.
Well, that mindset of him playing multiple competitions, well, what exactly are we doing here? Like, so he's going to try to succeed, but what do you think? Conte's going to say, I'm not going to get into a top 4 position because I don't want to play Champions League next year? I mean, he's not doing that.
If you look at the last season at Inter, when he didn't get he didn't progress from that group, they dominated. They dominated that group on the pitch. And that wasn't on Conte. That was on the execution, because they dominated those games and these guys couldn't score and they tripped on their dicks all over the place. I'm telling you.
I know not to bring up that merda shit, whatever, but I feel that even today, because a lot of those players are still there that were with Conte. And I feel that they're still succeeding because of what Conte did 3 years ago with them, 4 years ago, whenever it was. Because he started it. He started that progression, that trajectory of where they are now. That's all on Conte.
Yeah.
Limone over there, Inzaghi, he's just picking up the crumbs.
So Alberto Conte is a brat who doesn't care about Juventus. He showed us with his behavior of what? Giving the middle finger to Andrea Agnelli? Is that what it was? You could also say that he does care based on his return with that charity session, the group of 1996 that won the Champions League, all the words he had to say, and all the words that the people around him have said. This is all, like, does it really matter in the context of things? He doesn't care about Juventus. I don't believe it when everybody else, the same guys that have backed Tudor right now, are the same guys that said Conte would jump if offered the opportunity to come back to the bench. And they would all back him just as much as they have Igor Tudor. I'm at the point where middle fingers, flipping the bird, shit like that really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I want Juve to get back to being Juve and winning. That's all I care about. And if somebody gives us a higher chance of doing that, you know what? The middle finger, the ditching the 10 euros at a restaurant where you need 100 euros, you know what? I'm sorry. This guy is the right guy right now. I'm telling you. Have you never had a difference of opinion with your boss? I can tell you I have. Shit, I got into it with mine 2 weeks ago.
Conte, I'm on the same fence as you, Berto. Conte would jump at the chance of coming here. Jump.
You know, let's see how things go. I'm still one game at a time. Tudor's got a lot. Tudor's got a lot to do and to show, and with the options available, it could be a tough spot for him to win that over. Let's just see. Let's see. If Gatti can't recover, how do we expect to see Locatelli as a center back? If Gatti's hurt, and then that gets you Cope Miners in a 2-man pivot, it's an option. I have always been of the belief that this guy is not a center back. Like, he doesn't have the pace. He doesn't have the pace. Think about here's my one piece of evidence. Yesterday, look at the game, look at the style, look at the way we tried to play. Can you see Locatelli making even a fraction of the interventions Vega did?
No. He's not that. It's just not his style. It's not his play.
It would be fall back, and they would have space to turn and take it at us. I'm not into that. I'm not into that. You have Kalulu, you have Vega. You're going to have to deal with it with Kelly out there, but Kelly looked his best yesterday, so you just ride that and you take that shot. He's better as a center back, way better as a center back than an outside. All I say is keep the damn ball limited to him. Like, make sure he's got time when it gets out there to him, because when he gets caught like that, the turnovers, or just tell the kid, pump it up. If you're not sure, boot it up the fucking field. Like,
another
let's not
option.
Get cute.
Don't forget, we got you still waiting there too, right?
Alberto Costa as an outside. I would love to see him with this aggressive kind of north-south approach. I'm not willing to start him against Roma, but he could get some minutes. He could get some minutes for sure. Weah on the outside left or Cambiaso will help, I think. Also, I think McKennie was a little gassed, to your point, and wasn't really helping out a huge amount. So I'd probably go that route. How much confidence we have on Bremer coming back and playing to the level he did before the injury? Ooh. Well, it's always questionable with these knee injuries, these serious ones too, how they're going to be. I think he'll be all right, though.
If he was a winger or a forward or a striker or somebody like that, I'd be a little bit more worried. The fact that he's a center back, and I mean, he still has to depend on that knee for a lot, but not as much like, you know, when Dybala came back from it, Del Piero, Chiesa, like all these people, like they depend on speed and stuff like that. I'm not that worried.
Chiellini did it at the ripe age, the prime age of 37. Came back in 6 months, just under 6 months, and did it, had no problems. I'm not terribly worried. I'm worried of sometimes when you get a big one, a lot of little shit happens afterwards. So I'd be more concerned if now little nagging things creep up from it and everything like that. But
if he starts to compensate.
Yeah, Bremer's an animal though. Like, he's an animal. He trains very, very hard. I think he's going to be okay. So my confidence level is high in him returning to the same level. Maybe an 8.5 out of 10. I'd go that far. 8.5 out of 10. I thought Dusan looked improved and motivated yesterday. More physical and active. What do you think, fellas? I think
he definitely got a little boost. He got a boost.
Yeah. I mean, he's done that even under Malta, though, like when he was getting games and stuff before Kolomoani came around. Like, I mean, he always... And I always kind of laugh to myself about it because it's all this, you know, a play happens, you get a shot, it's blocked or something. It's like this to the crowd, whatever. Yeah. It's like, you know, it's like, okay, it's good and stuff, but shut it down and take care of business, you know? Like, well, I was going to say... It's almost like he's trying to look extra motivated and look extra like as he's trying to compensate for what's actually going down on the pitch. It's like, which ultimately does all the talking. Just take care of business.
Yeah, handle your shit first and then go nuts as much as you want.
Yeah, maybe, a little bit more motivation or whatnot, but I'm not that crazy on it. Nanasi, Osimhen, Huijsen, Xavi, Tonali in this summer. Holy hell. We're going to take Huijsen back and we're going to get the buyback clause on our own money. Genius. 4D chess we played there. Buy him, take your own 10%.
Little tax write-off. I got to say something. Can we stop with the Tonali things?
No. I just don't. Why?
It's not happening. It's not...
It might not, but it very well could. I fail to believe if an Italian club, one of the bigger ones, I don't give a shit about this Milanista stuff, this nonsense. If a big club in Italy came, I think he would want to come back in Italy. I don't care about the PR shit him and his agent are spreading out there in England. I think if he was offered the opportunity, it would depend on the project and how things are going. But Newcastle's dumping a lot of money, etc. But I still think that if the opportunity arose, I don't think it's an instant no. Obviously, we need Champions League qualification to even think about that. His Newcastle sit in sixth place right now in England. 1 point out of fifth behind Man City. They have a game in hand. If they win it, that would take them to fourth place. But also Chelsea has a game in hand, Nottingham Forest. All these teams have one more game to play than City. So they could be staring potentially in Champions League or maybe just outside of it. Who knows? But we need Champions League qualification before anything. All like this big window, it literally goes out the window if we don't get Champions League. So
you're not getting anybody. I don't think
you
you're
have
getting
to
anybody
hit top 4. And then sales become a concern. Then sales become a concern. George says, take care of business at home. Yes. Then what? Do we trust Conte to deliver on multiple comps or not? Again, you guys, I can't keep doing this fight, man.
You guys are going to make Berto walk off again.
Walk before you can run. It's as simple as that, guys. We're almost at a square one basis. I don't think we realize. It's like we live in this world where everybody wants everything like this. Boom, boom. No, I want treble tomorrow. It doesn't fucking work like that. Like, seriously, walk before you can run. If Conte on 2 seasons or Tudor on a 1-year option, I'm taking Conte, you guys. I'm going against my own rules. I'm breaking my own rule. I'd break the rules. Sometimes rules are made to be broken, okay? So I used to live by that motto in my earlier days, just outside of high school, okay? Sometimes rules are made to be broken. No returns. I would do that. I'm telling you, walk before you can run. It's as simple as that.
The multiple competitions things with Conte, that's the least of our. That's like the furthest thing from what is more vital of what he would do to an organization, to our organization. It's vital.
And then we get into the question marks, because there's a million question marks around Juve. Is Elkan selling? Is he not? Is Agnelli looking to get back? Will Agnelli come back? That'll probably kill Conte. That'll probably kill some other stuff involving some other big names historically around the club. Not Chiellini. He'll be safe. But question the involvement of other guys. A lot of question marks. Ferrero and Scanavino. This team needs a new management up above Giuntoli.
Did he see the game yesterday? Or was he still sleeping?
Ferrero, he was there. He was sleeping. Elkan wasn't there. But this is the guy that's ready to set up Giuntoli, who accomplished what they wanted, what they tasked him with. He's ready to be that fall guy, but you're not going to fool me. You're not going to fool me. Get that panda bear that can't stay awake for 90 minutes out of this fucking club. Get Scanavino out. You've done your part. You were the right guys for the financial side of things to get rectified, but now we need to get serious. Okay? Now we need to get serious. Jesus Christ. Enough's enough. But question marks everywhere. Tudor, things got off to the right start. Okay? 1-0 victory. Took care of business. Controlled aggression. Now you got an instant test. That probably worked out the best to face Genoa at home before Roma. And you know what? I think, do you have this feeling that we hung on to Motta too long?
Yes. 100%.
When do you think we should have pulled the trigger? Because that would have been crucial matches to even build up and more for Tudor to get to a point where we're not so much under the wire for top 4. When do you think we should have said that goodbye?
I don't think it would have happened. When I saw the disconnect was the Supercoppa game in January. That's when I really started to think, fuck, this guy's not the guy. This is not our guy.
You were ready to fire him after the Supercoppa?
No. When I wanted it, do I think that's realistic? No. The realistic one, I think let me put it this way. If there was no international break, I didn't think they would have done it now. I think they used that opening.
Man, Vincenzo actually says after Supercoppa as well. That was early. And Calogero been saying since January to sack him. Supercopa, after further reflection, was rough. It was. Supercopa seems super early. Whew.
Yeah,
the
it's
Champions
only
League
because
one. A lot were saying
that?
the Champions League one, but that Empoli one probably should have been it for me.
The Empoli one is when the realistic one should have been. I think January was a little too early, but yeah, that Empoli game was a fucking killer, bro.
Dude, and then to follow up with games that you were just,
I mean, you could say the same for the Atalanta game too, right?
Well, the Atalanta came after that, and it was like, that should have been. The Fiorentina was just like, okay, like, we're bleeding out. Like, we're dying.
Yep.
You know? So, that would have all probably went a long way for Tudor to even get those extra games in and stuff. So, we might have hung on a little bit too long. And, again, this season's going to piss me off, depending on how it closes out, because we pissed away so much. Even with Malta. 17 points or 16 points, whatever, lost from winning positions against garbage opposition a lot of the time too. That's why even if there are key signs with Tudor right now, even if it's against Genoa, you take it and run, because we weren't getting the job done against opposition that was worse. Even against worse opposition, we weren't getting the job done. So we take these positives and we move forward. Let's see. Can Tudor get us that top 4? I hope so. Because we need it. The Mercado, it's a wild card right now. Top 4 is critical. Roma will be on deck. That's going to be a big one. You guys know the drill. Same as always. I'll bring you all the news updates. All right. I am going to have the same thing going for the Roma match. We're going to have the pregame show, and I'll bring you a live watch along. Thank you to everybody who keeps rocking with me on the watch alongs. I absolutely love those. All right. And no matter what, it's fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. I actually am very excited and intrigued to see how we go at this Roma match. That is a big one. Sev,
it's a biggie.
Absolute pleasure, as always. All right? And we could go back to reminiscing around 1991. Juve keeps the record alive. Last time that they faltered to Genoa. Canadian had a big hit on the billboards. Bryan Adams. Everything I do it for you. That was top of the charts in 1991. I was still in Winnipeg. I was watching the Winnipeg Jets. I got an autographed poster from the Legion of Doom back from like the 90s.
Awesome, Legion of Doom.
Man, my parents owned a restaurant. And after school, I would go grab a pizza that my mom would make. I'd take it 3 doors down to Fabio, who ran an arcade, and I'd just have free reign because he loved the pizza. So we had the restaurant going. My dad had a sit-down Pac-Man machine arcade right at the front of the restaurant. It was amazing. Good old times there in Winnipeg. And then the weather finally got to us, and we said, we're moving out west where it's semi-desert. There you go.
God, Bryan Adams is classic, bro. That's
Bryan Adams, man, you know what's crazy about Bryan Adams that not a lot of people know? Fun little fact as we venture off the footballing world is he actually wrote a ton of songs for like bands that nobody has any. He wrote songs for Kiss.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Like he wrote songs for bands you would never imagine. Bryan Adams, Canada's national treasure next to me. There you go. All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. Have fun, and we'll talk to you real soon. As always, thank you. Drop a like, share the content, and fino alla fine, Forza Juventus. Ciao tutti. Take care.